Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And now's the time for the main event here in the Umar Temple ruins. Up ahead are two major encounters, and the first one of which is against the Shadow Dragon that we've heard about before. But before we go down there to level 2 and properly introduce the fellow and talk about the encounter, we're going to do some preparations and some buffing up. So first off, we can level Edwin to level 13, get some additional spell slots, which I am going to fill with some spells right now, but of course these spells are not going to matter. We are also going to set up his minor sequencer, and we're going to put 2 magic missiles into it so that he can just do a little bit more damage with one of his casts. And also Animan, you can regen, and we're going to do a switch of the Ion Stones between our Kensai ladies, because Kirinai is not going to really matter in the upcoming encounter, whereas Senashira, as is usually the case, is going to be our main actress. She's going to play a very important role, so she can definitely use the hit point and the Thaco boost. And furthermore, we can even buff up her constitution. Nope. Buff up Senashira's constitution here. And now we can heal up some of our guys. We can rebuff Senashira's spirit armor because her old one, expired. We can give her some stone skins. And we can give her some potions. I'm going to give her 1 potion of fire resistance. And 1 potion of magic shielding. And it's all going to become clear, especially once we talk about the particular abilities that we're going to be facing off against. So just bear with me here for a little while. This lasts for 3 turns, so we're going to drink this already. And we're going to give a couple more buffs to Senashira, and then we're going to go down and finally talk about what our plans are going to be for that encounter. So blur, mirror images. I'm going to also give her a fire shield from this staff. And we're also going to give her an improved invisibility. Dragons see invisible, but this is still going to provide her with a boost to armor class. And last thing needed is going to be a haste for everyone. That fire shield.
What is it?
For Senashira, and finally some spell immunity to abjuration. Alright, now we are ready. We need to re-equip ourselves properly. And now we can go down. So here's our dragon, our shadow dragon, Thaxll'ssillyia. And since this is our first dragon encounter, let me just take a moment to talk about dragons in general, how they operate. So all of them have 25 strength, so they hit like trucks. They all have access to spells. And the 2 trademark attacks of dragons. So first off is the Dragon Breath, which is going to be different depending on what type of dragon we're facing off against. And also they have a wing attack, the Wing Buffet, which deals some crushing damage. It can knock you back and knock you unconscious if you fail your save. And now this particular dragon. So in the unmodded game, let's talk about his breath. It blinds you for 1 round and it drains 4 levels. And these effects allow no saving throw, and they bypass magic resistance, so they always happen. And it can also drain a further 2 levels if you fail your save. Now, in SCS, there are some changes. First off, when it comes to dragons in general, they cast their spells as innate abilities, so they cast them instantly. They cannot be interrupted, and they are not susceptible to spell failure. This guy's breath is changed. It's basically confers the same effects, but it triggers at least twice, and I've seen it hit even more times all at once. So it can actually drain from 8 to 12 levels, in just 1 breath. So for example, it could one-shot Mazzy if she does not make her saving throws. And Of course, with SCS AI improvements, he's going to use his spells more effectively. He's going to have some protections and also some spells that he can throw at us. Like we have spell immunity to abjuration because he probably has remove magic. He can make himself invisible because he's a shadow dragon. He also, I think, has some spells like chaos and stuff like that. So basically, we have this potion of magic shielding that we've drank to ensure our saving throws on Sinashira are successful, to not get knocked unconscious by his wing buffet, and also to not get affected by any of his different tricks that we can save against. Of course, Sinashira is our only party member protected against the level drain. And but anyway, more about his stats. Let's finish that off. He, instead of 160 hit points, which is the amount of hit points he has in the unmodded game, with SCS he has 480, so 3 times as many. He is also immune to cold. He has 60% magic resistance and 25% resistance to all physical types of damage, and his Thaco and armor class are also great. So basically what we're going to do against this dragon, because his stats are so good, he has a lot of hit points, his armor class is pretty good, he has physical resistance, he's going to have some protections as well, and only one of our party members can really stay close to him, because only Sinashira is immune to his level drain, and she is going to also be protected well against everything else that he can do, both spell-wise and when it comes to his attacks. So we are not going to be able to really deliver too much physical damage. Sinashira is going to contribute in that regard, but generally we are going to rely on our spells. There's going to be a lot of assistance coming from our other party members when it comes to casting some spells. I'm just going to spread out a little bit already with everyone. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to lower the resistance, the magic resistance of this dragon, and then unleash a lot of spells at our disposal, where like while Sinashira basically keeps this dragon occupied, I'm not really going to use protection from magical weapons. This is kind of like a last resort, just in case type of ability that she has here, because I don't want him, seeing that Sinashira is immune to his attacks, I don't want him to switch attention to anyone else that like enters his vision range. I want this dragon to believe that he can eventually get to Sinashira, cut through her stone skins and mirror images, and all that. And yeah, basically everyone is hasted so that we can just quickly go in, throw a spell, and get out before he can really unleash his shadow breath or just switch targets. We want, of course, for this dragon to be completely occupied with Sinashira, who is going to be able to withstand his different tricks. And is there anything else that I should say about this dragon before we start? I don't think so. So we're going to start out with a lower resistance. This is a spell that lowers the resistance by 10% and then 1% per mage level. So in our case, both for Sinashira and Edwin, this is going to lower his resistance by 23%. So we're going to need 3 casts of these. Also, I am aware that you can use this spell, Magic Resistance, on the dragon, but I'm not going to do it, because basically this spell, Magic Resistance, it sets the magic resistance of the target to that of double the level of the divine caster. So, for example, Jaheira is level 13, so her magic resistance would set the magic resistance to any given creature to 26%. So it would lower the resistance of the dragon quite significantly in just one cast. But this just is, I consider it to be really cheesy, because this is clearly like intended to be a buff, I guess, for your party members touched by this spell to grant you some magic resistance. So I'm not going to use it on enemies in that way. So we're just going to use lower resistance on Sinashira and on Edwin to lower his resistance to 0 and then unleash our spells. But anyway, first let's start with that lower resistance on Sinashira and just get his attention. Alright, so now he sees us. He didn't initiate combat because, of course, we had that ward stone from Amoana. He has protection from magical weapons, but we are going to be able to deliver some damage with our normal Warhammer. I'm not going to breach him. We're going to have more important things to do with our rounds, with our spells. Okay, let's pull him a little bit back. And now we can start attacking, and we can get Edwin in to throw in his magic resistance, or lower resistance, and we're going to also have Animan throw in a firestorm. That's why Senashira is buffed up against fire, in case she just needs to travel through that firestorm. Firestorm, of course, bypasses magic resistance, so we can throw it in round 1, and it's still going to deliver its damage, no problem. And it's also going to stay in the area for a while, so it's going to keep delivering damage to that Shadow Dragon. And we can also use our Ring of the Ram on Kirinai to deliver a little bit of damage, because it also bypasses magic resistance, and that use of it. Okay, now you can run back. Okay, quickly, Edwin, and run back. You can kind of outrun this breath, because it takes a little while to happen. And if we just kind of, you know, that's why we're hasted. If we kind of ran out of the vision range of the dragon, we should be able to get out quick enough so that it doesn't affect us. All right, the firestorm is underway as well. Okay, actually, the dragon is a little bit out of its range. Should really bring it a little bit closer there. Alright, now we're dealing damage with it. Okay, now we can deliver the final lower resistance on Edwin and prepare some of our other guys. We can also start casting True Sight on Senashira, because this dragon has a special ability where it can go invisible and basically have an improved invisibility effect. Alright, the final lower resistance is upon him. Okay, we have True Sight activated. He actually went outside of the cloud, which is a little bit unfortunate, because I wanted to totally, or like in total, deliver quite a bit of damage with it. And now we're going to have some Holy Smite cast by Animan. We're going to use our Wand of the Heavens to deliver Flame Strike from Jaheira. And from Edwin, we're going to throw in some Flame Arrows. And Senashira is going to be able to deliver some Aganazar Scorcher and keep that active while while hitting him. Alright, the Flame Arrow is there. It dealt some damage. Alright, Senashira is contributing nicely with her physical damage as well. What's our status? He's injured. Let's just wait a little bit. Okay, Chaos. It's not going to, of course, work on us. We can throw in the other Holy Smite here, and we can throw in the other Flame Arrow, and we can throw in another Flame Strike from our Wand of the Heavens. Alright, boom. And go away. Go away, go away. Alright, badly injured. Now I think Senashira should be able to switch to her magical Warhammer. Alright, now the dragon is actually getting to her, so let's renew her Stone Skins. And let's unleash Edwin's Minor Sequencer. Okay, with some magic arrows, magic missiles. And on Animan we're also going to switch to a Wand of the Heavens. And Jaheira is going to continue doing her thing as well. Alright, Jaheira did her stuff. Animan did his stuff, we can bring them outside. Alright, near death. Come on, Senashira, you can probably finish him off. We can throw in a little bit more stuff with our casters. And Jaheira got hit by his his breath and just got killed instantly. That's what I meant with that Shadow Dragon breath. I guess we didn't pull her out enough distance, I guess, because she was definitely, you know, after unleashing her her Flame Strike, I told her to go away, but I guess you know, so she was quick enough, I think, with her retreat, but it didn't retreat a large enough distance, I guess. But he's near death. We should be able to finish him off. Actually, let's not go all out with our spells. We might need these magic missiles, believe it or not, in the next encounter. Come on, Senashira. Actually, what am I doing? You can do some again as our Scorcher. Alright, and after a couple of attacks, she's going to need to renew her mirror images. Alright. There it is. So that's our first dragon encounter. The Shadow Dragon, Thaxll'ssillyia, lies dead at our feet. And our haste just now expired. So it all worked out pretty nicely. Of course, Jaheira was a little unfortunate getting killed like that, but we can resurrect her. And it's not going to be that big of a deal. And we're... Do you have your full heal still? Oh yeah, of course you were level drained, so you lost a lot of spells in the process. Which is kind of unfortunate. But anyway, we're done. We have made it. And Jaheira is just going to quickly re-equip herself, and we're going to prepare for the next encounter, which comes right after this one. Okay, and now your inventory, we can do it like this. Alrighty. Now let's loot the dragon, and he has some very notable goodies. First off, we have these Shadow Dragon scales, and we're going to be able to make or craft an armor with that. He has some jewels, has some cash, and has a very important reagent for Cromfair, the scroll. Used, I guess, by the ancient dwarven smith Silverblade to forge Cromfair and like use its true name here. We're going to need some more components though, so Cromfair is of course not going to happen until way later in the game.
It will be done.
Anyway, now in this next encounter we are going to fight against the Shade Lord, and we're going to switch our gear a little bit. We are going to give this Amulet of Power to Jaheira, and we might just do a couple of generic buffs here. We can like chant, you can at least bless Jaheira. We can give some mirror images to Edwin as well. And Edwin is going to haste us again.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to cast some mirror images. Alright, now Senashira is going to use spell immunity to necromancy. Alright, so let's go in and we're going to talk a little bit more in a second.
My knight miniature has escaped and returned with more souls to feed upon. Welcome all.
So Shadow Patrick here is also present. Mazzy, you left us here. No matter, join the delightful darkness.
Patrick! No, not Patrick. Only his twisted spirit. My poor friends, what has he done to you?
He's given us back our existence. We're all here, Mazzy. Join us. Embrace the Master.
Excellent, my servant. Our Lady Knight shall embrace the darkness and give the gift of flesh that I might keep my hold on this mortal plane.
Twisted fiend. Only death will stop me from avenging those noble souls that you have stolen.
Gently, Lady Knight. You were to be my consort.
I would never join with you. Every fiber in my being would resist.
So noble. A knight on this altar would have made you a worthy consort. Don't look so harshly upon me. You would be a most evil shade. The laws of chaos subvert. The noblest souls in life make for deliciously evil undead.
You will be fully dead when I am through with you.
Is this how you will have it? Regrettable. However, we'd have ruled these weak fools together. Come, my shades, make short work of them, and they shall join our army, if not our family.
Alright, so now that we see our opponents, we have the Shade Lord, we have the Shadow Altar, and we have Shadow Patrick. And SCS makes some changes to this encounter. Normally in the unmodded game it's nothing really that special. But Shade Lord is kind of like a fighter mage. He's his own thing. He's going to have some protections, and he has some spells at his disposal as well. And he also has in SCS a Darkling aura, and that ticks every once in a while, and drains levels. But only in a certain range around him. So, but basically what we are going to do is we're going to have Jaheira, that's protected against level drain with her Amulet of Power, and Senashira, who's protected against that Darkling aura with her spell immunity to Necromancy. They are going to hang out close to the Shade Lord himself, and once we dispel his protections, we're going to be able to deliver some damage with our two ladies here. And I'm going to move the rest of our party onto this into this corner, I guess, and this should be out of range of his aura, and we're going to deal with Shadow Patrick. Now that Shadow Altar is going to periodically, or quite often actually with SCS, spawn some shadows, but they are completely irrelevant. We're not really going to direct our attention at them too much. Alright, so let's of course wait for the Shade Lord's pre-buffs to trigger. We want Edwin to be like as far back. And Anoman and Mazzy can like be a little bit forward here and attack Shadow Patrick, I guess, from kind of approaching from the south. Alright, so he has a special Shadow Mantle. He's protected against magical weapons, and he has spell turning, and he has some mirror images. So what we're going to do is we're going to secret word his spell turning, and then Edwin is going to breach him, while our other characters take care of Shadow Patrick. And Jaheira, I wanted to kind of do a little defensive harmony or something like that, but of course she doesn't have anything like that available to her anymore. Also we have Senashira here with some protection from magical weapons available to her, because I think he can have a black blade of disaster, and I don't want to be hit by that. Alright, so these shadows are being summoned. It doesn't really matter. We're waiting for that secret word first. Alright, so now it hit. Now we can use Edwin to breach the Shade Lord. There he is, and then we're going to be able to get to him. Alright, Shadow Patrick is dead. We can just kind of keep dealing with these shadows here. And basically keep our party away. This Darkling aura here triggered, and as you can see we were out of range with our 4 party members down south here, and of course Jaheira and Senashira were immune to the effect. Alright, breach hit, and now we can also use some magic missiles onto him to reduce the amount of his mirror images, and now we can actually go and attack him with some physical damage. Oh, I forgot to mention that he has 50% magic resistance, so these magic missiles are largely going to be resisted, but some should hit and add a little bit of damage. And he also has 50% resistance to physical damage, but, you know, that's basically going to be our ticket to success in this encounter. Alright, so he does have Black Blade of Disaster, so I think I'm just going to cast protection from magical weapons and just remove Jaheira from the scene. Yeah, so he resisted like almost all of our magic missiles. Anyway, we're still getting to him. Oh yeah, we can of course use our ranged attacks. I was about to switch to our ranged and to our slings to deliver some range damage onto him. And Kiranai, of course, is throwing her daggers, and Mazzy can use her twig and bow. Alright, and that's it. That's the Shade Lord is no more already, and now we need to use some of our melee weapons to destroy this Shadow Altar. And I guess Kiranai can just kill a couple of these shadows in the meantime. Yeah, nothing really that special. The main encounter here is of course the Shadow Dragon.
Yeah, very well. I am yours to command. The group needs me at your command. Oh.
And the shadows are going to die automatically here.
It is done, though the vengeance is empty. Patrick and my companions had to serve in death as slaves to the Shade Lord.
A truly evil fate. And we're going to be able to make an inscription on this like statue of Amaunator in remembrance of the adventuring party that she led.
My lost companions, my boon friends, may your souls rest in peace. I shall always carry your courage and your honor with me. I shall strike down evil in your name.
Know, noble heroes, that you are not forgotten. May this altar always stand as a monument to your unselfish courage. Farewell.
Sire,
And there's also Morella here, free from the domination of the Shade Lord now, but unfortunately she does not survive the process.
I am willing to continue.
Alright, so that's it. That's it for the temple ruins in the Umar Hills. Now we are done. We can rearrange our stuff again. Here's a Cloak of the Stars that actually can create +5 darts that only last for a certain duration, but if you stash them in your bag of holding, for example, they are actually, you can keep them kind of indefinitely, so you can make yourself a large stash of these darts if you would like to go for such a thing. We're not going to really engage in that kind of thing. I should have, switched the slings earlier so that we could use our +3 Arla's Dragonbane a little bit earlier, but it doesn't really matter all that much. So that was Morella and Shadow Patrick. Also Lelin's stuff that we left on the ground outside, I guess, got ported here as well. Shadow Patrick has some interesting stuff. And here you can actually travel already back to Imnisvale. You can actually exit the whole area already here, which is something that I didn't know for a while. But anyway, now as you can see, the growing darkness over this wood has been dispelled, now as this shadow altar has been purified. But we're going to go back to the underground passages of this temple just for a moment. We of course got a lot of personalized experience, so Mazzy was able to level up. We're going to deal with that a little later. And here if we port to this statue that we have proven ourselves to by describing the different rituals, now it's going to say that our work is done here. So Amaunator's blessing upon thee. And we're not going to be able to talk with it anymore, and we're going to be able to loot its like eye socket, I guess, which is trapped. Boom. And we get a little diamond out of this. Anyway, so a happy ending altogether. I think I forgot to loot the skeletons over here. Yeah. Oh wow, nice. Horrid Wilting scroll, just as of out of random loot. Guys, don't be like that. Well, we have two identifiers. Let's identify Shadow Patrick's stuff. So he had Duskblade, and nice interesting halberd because it delivers cold damage. It's +2 enchanted. If you come here early, you can get a lot of value out of it, I guess. And he also has Dark Mail, a Chainmail, +3 with some fire resistance on it. Not really loot that we're going to be able to get a lot of use out of, but interesting stuff nonetheless. So of course the environment changed here. I'm going to just reveal a little bit of it, and then we're just going to go and report to Minister Lloyd in Imnisvale. Oh yeah, now of course instead of shadows there's going to be normal wild animals here. And there is a reason to come back here if you become the Ranger Protector of Imnisvale, if you get the Ranger Stronghold, which of course we are not going to get. Alright, so let's go back to Imnisvale then.
Without hesitation.
Hello, Moose. Well, let's just teleport to Minister Lloyd and conclude our business here.
What is it? This will not take long.
Is there something you need?
These are honorable companions who freed me from the clutches of a most dreadful Shade Lord Mayor, which was the actual bane of your village. It seems the Shade possessed your ranger and committed his evil acts from her body. My own companions are dead, and Mirella was killed with the Shade, sadly. But you have Senashira here to thank for your salvation. I too would have perished were it not for her most timely intervention.
Oh, this is most joyous news.
And he's like, well, it's sad that Mirella died. A ranger protector that probably, protected this village for years. But anyway, we are most grateful to you, my lady. So let us rejoice. And we don't need to accept his gold. We can be nice. Yeah, Imna's Veil is now safe. We get some reputation. We get also a leather armor piece that we might hold on to for Kiranai actually for much later in the game. But yeah, that's it. Our business in Imna's Veil is concluded. Another big adventure has been finished, and we're going to engage in the next one, I guess, in the next episode. So for now, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the encounters in this one, and I'll see you next time.